Hey, Tubies! It's Psychic Bob. It is so good to be with you. Well, I wasn't actually planning on doing a live broadcast today, but I just got inspired. I'm a big believer in going with inspiration. And I hope some of you out there are getting this broadcast. It looks like we got in the chat. Shannon Welch is here. Hello, Shannon. Good to see you. Yeah, we're going to be starting here in just a minute or so, but I wanted just to get the broadcast going. Hopefully the notices are going out to everybody. But it's just so cool to be with you guys. And, it's Friday night. I tell you, it's been a busy week for Psychic Bob. A lot of work going on here. And looks like we got a lot of people join us. Yay. Okay, Allison Downey's here. Stephen Colin's here. Morgan Oppenheimer. Yay. Shannon Nicole. Mina Laurie. Gosh, we got a lot of people here. Well, this is so cool. It's so nice to see you guys. I know I hadn't really planned to do a live broadcast. Yay, Christian the Man's here. But it kind of ended up just, I ran out of hours in the day. I was planning on getting a video out to you earlier, but I have been tied up in readings and business meetings all day. Not complaining. I've had a really good day, but it's just like, wow, it's here on the East Coast. It's already 8:30 at night. And I tell you, I don't know where the time goes, Yay, Frequency of Peace is here. Yay, T. Rose Lover. Oh my gosh, M Love. I didn't think anybody would show up at such a late notice and last minute, but I'm really honored that you guys are taking the time to come out tonight. So I've been sitting here looking at some of my jewelry. I'm always crazy about my jewelry. And so I thought I'd show you some of my jewelry too. And we're going to get into a really cool topic tonight. And this is not going to be a long broadcast because Psychic Bob's really tired and I've got a lot going on. But I did want to come here and spend some time with you. Hi, M Love. Yeah, I didn't expect to do this broadcast this late, but it's just I got inspired. I ran out of hours. I haven't had time today to put out a video. Hey, David Jen. Yay. Hey, Calatin Dashcam. Yay. Well, I'm glad you're here. Anyways, Claudette Malaspina is here. Yay. Oh, my gosh. Well, Claudette, you're just in time because I was going to talk about some jewelry that I've got because you're a jewelry person, Claudette. I know you'll be interested in this. Hey, Gav. Oh, my gosh. It's good to see you. Yeah. Hi. Don't worry, Gav. Everything's fine. This is not an emergency broadcast. It's just that, as I was saying earlier, I've run out of time today and it's late here, but I did want to come and connect with you guys because I told you we'd have a video today. So, it's kind of like if I don't do a live broadcast, it ain't happening because I just don't have time to sit and edit and process and do all that stuff today. But it's just cool, that even though last minute, you guys are coming out. So thank you. Hi, Sharon A. Good to see you. Sherry Lewis is here. Yay. Hi, David J. Yes, we'll talk about that. Save your question. I'm going to get into this topic tonight because tonight we're going to talk about a book that I've been working on. I'm not done with it, so we'll have more about this, but we're going to talk a little later tonight about Chariots of the Gods. This is a classic book about ancient astronauts, ancient aliens coming to Earth. So we're going to get into that in just a minute. But before we get into that, I'll show you some of my jewelry I'm wearing. So, I've been in an artistic mode. For those of you who saw yesterday's video, by the way, thank you to those who came out to yesterday's video. We had such a good time. Hey, Awake Now, good to see you. Anyways, I went to the art gallery down at the Torpedo Factory. And, oh, Gab, you got that book? Wonderful. And yay. Well, we're going to talk about that book, guys, so hold that thought, okay? But anyways, I have a collection of different little jewelry. Well, I'm a jewelry freak. But anyways, I dug out of my chest one of my other artist pendants today. This is my little artist palette. And some of you may remember, so I bought this a few weeks ago at Hobby Lobby. And I just love it. It's got sparkly jewels. And I don't know if you can see, it's got the brush. See, it's an artist palette paint. The jewels are supposed to be, let's see if I can steady myself. They're supposed to be paint. So you got red, blue, orange, green, white, purple. And then it's got a little brush. See, and it's a free hanging brush. So there's a little brush, there's a little palette. But anyways, I'm having a lot of fun wearing my artist jewelry because I'm really into my painting. You know, I find painting to really be quite a spiritual experience. For me, it opens my channel. It just relaxes me, and I love it. I'm going to be doing some painting later tonight before I go to bed, and also some tomorrow in between readings. Yay, Morgan Oppenheimer's here. Yay, Ken's here. T Rose Lover, Ms. Limitless. Hey, good to see you. Thank you, dear, for being here. Sharon A's here. June 18, Gav Hines is here. Oops, hold on. I got to turn off my sound. Let's see here. I'm getting all these notices. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. Yeah, thank you, Gav. I'm so glad you like this. But so anyways, I'm wearing my artist palette to celebrate my working and painting, which I just love. So anyways, also, you know, I'm so crazy about jewelry. I'm always buying something somewhere. And I got a beautiful little pendant I want to show you guys. Also, I just got in the mail today. This is a blue opal. It's actually a fake opal. It's not a real opal. Real opals this size would be very expensive. But it's a beautiful little fake opal, but it's still set in sterling silver. And I just think it's beautiful. The opal is a great mystical stone. And probably next Wednesday, we'll talk more about the opal because I think that should be a whole video. But isn't that pretty? And it glows. Very mystical stone opals. Allison says, "Oh, I love all your jewelry." Thank you, Alice. I'm just you know what? We all have an addiction, and that's fine. Okay. What's that? You know, they said the first step to recovery is admitting you have a problem. I am a jewelry addict. My name is Bob. I don't think I'd last long in a group for Jewelry Collectors Anonymous. I think I'd just not make it through. M Love says that opal is their birthstone. Wonderful. Yay. Thank you, M Love. Thank you so much. Thanks, Gav. Good to see you. June 18 is all the way here from Sweden. Sweden, rocking the house. Yay. I love Sweden. I have thought about moving to Sweden, honestly, because depending on what happens this next year, you know, PsychicBob may have to leave the country, honestly. So I'm thinking of where I want to move to. We'll see. Anyways, but I'm just glad you guys are here. And real quick reminder, tomorrow is the last day you will be able to get Magenta Frenzy. This is my artwork for this week called Magenta Frenzy. Tomorrow's the last day you can get a free print copy of it. So if you don't have it and you like it and want it, go get it tonight or get it early in the morning, because by tomorrow evening, we're going to have a new artwork up. So it'll be up probably till about, I don't know, 5 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. Maybe a little later, but don't press it because it's going to go away. Okay. Lady What says, "You're looking well." Well, you know, thank you. I think all the work I've been doing is I got the blood flow going. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, whenever I get to experience creativity, it rejuvenates me. So anyways, if you like this print, get a copy today because it's going away later tomorrow, okay? Now, I forgot to tell you also, Magenta Frenzy is available and will still be available even after the print goes away in t-shirt form. So if you want a t-shirt copy, go to my merch store right below this video, okay? And, you know, you can get your shirt. Now, some people are writing and say, I don't see the merch store below the video. I don't know if live stream it shows up, but it'll be after the video processes. If you don't see my merch store, go to my main channel page. It's Spirit Channel, the front page, basically. And you'll see up at the top a tab, it says merch store. Also, I'm working on, if you go to my website, PsychicBob.com, there'll be a link over there. There's PsychicBob.com right below my finger. There's also going to be a link at my website to go to my merch store. So you'll be able to get my t-shirts. And pretty much every week, we're going to come out with a new t-shirt. I'm working on some more that are in production right now. So maybe by Monday, maybe it's this weekend, we'll see. But I'm not going to promise this weekend. But by Monday, we should have another offering in t-shirts. So if you like stuff over there, you know, treat yourself, you know. Life is short, you know, and you should have some fun. Catlin Dashcam says, I need some of that energy. After last night's late call, my creativity was depleted. I'm so sorry. You know, Calitan, excuse me, I'm calling you the wrong name. Calitan Dashcam. Well, creativity, you know, you have to have the right balance. You got to have enough rest. You know, I don't get a lot of rest these days because I work a lot. And then, you know, sometimes I get government harassment, which is horrific. But we won't talk about that tonight. But, you know, creativity is of the soul. And when you feel your energy depleted, it's probably your creativity is going to go down. So you just got to balance, you know. I always say drink a lot of water because water restores the body, and walk. You know, I'm not a big person on jogging, but I do believe in walking, you know. Allison Downey says, what are the symbols? What do the symbols mean in your picture art? Well, they mean whatever you want them to mean. For example, magenta frenzy, that's a great question, is about a free flow of consciousness. It's about being in the moment, being inspired. Now, if you want to read about what my meanings, my interpretation are of my paintings, go to, my web store, my merchandise store. And when you go in the store, you can click on each shirt and it will bring up the whole story behind the art of each one. So you can learn about my art, even if you don't want to buy one now. Go over there and read about the paintings because that will help you understand my art, you know. So, yay. Well, I am just glad you guys are here, and you're welcome, darling. Thank you, Calatin. So anyways, I wanted to read a little bit from this book to talk about something that I think is so fascinating because, you know, so many people here at Spirit Channel do believe in aliens and UFOs. But, you know, we who know, we don't need the proof. But, you know, the problem is that a lot of the world out there are diehard skeptics. They don't believe in psychics. They don't believe in spirit. They don't believe in life after death. They don't believe in anything. And they definitely don't believe in UFOs. And I think this is a very sad thing, you know, that science, the rational mind, has become so glorified, and that's the word I use, glorified in our Western modern culture, that using the intuitive mind, the psychic mind, the sensitive mind is considered strange, outre, weird, and just to be forgotten. Well, this book, why I recommend it, it's a classic from 1969. And you might say, oh, that's out of date. Listen, this book is not out of date. It's still as fresh for a read as it was in 1969. Chariot of the Gods. And it's by Eric von Daniken. And I forget if he's German or Dutch. I think he's Dutch. Eric von Daniken. Recommend, highly recommend. Because he approaches this whole subject from a very scientific viewpoint. And he says there's so much evidence for life out in the stars. It would be foolish. It would be non-intelligent, in fact, to not embrace that this could truly be happening. And I have to agree with him. So I wanted to share with you one of his scientific proofs here tonight. Lady Witch says that she has the book. Yay, Lady Witch, so good. Yes, Claudette Malspina says, they are asleep, Bob. It's very sad. Yeah. You know, I always say to people always say, well, say goodbye. You believe in those UFOs, you know. Hi, June 18th. It's late in Sweden, 2:45 a.m. I need to go to bed. Good night. June 18th, thank you for stopping in. I know it's late. I was surprised that you're here, but I do honestly appreciate you making the effort. Thank you for being here. Anyways, you can watch the rest of this tomorrow, okay, in replay. Get some rest, all right? Any of you who are here from Europe, if you beg off a few minutes early, I tell you, I'm not at all offended. I'm just honored that you took the time to say hi. And you know, Davy Jan, you're up late too, aren't you? So David Jan says the human genome was created from 22 alien species. I've actually heard that as well, David Jan, and I think you're right about that. But I wanted to share with you just a little bit of a formula that I just think is brilliant, okay? And this really puts it to the atheist scientists. And it's literally at the beginning of chapter 1, okay? He starts this book off on a strong foundation, which I think is wonderful. So I'm going to read this to you, and I want you just to kind of listen to it and think about it, okay? So he writes, he says, no, I'm going to jump down here. Hold on just a second. Okay, so we're about midway down the first page. And he says, on a clear night, the naked eye can see about 4,500 stars. So the astronomers say. Okay, so that's just without any telescopes or anything. The telescopes of even a small observatory makes nearly 2 million stars visible. And a modern reflecting telescope brings the light from thousands of millions more to the viewer. Specks of light in the Milky Way. But in the colossal dimensions of the cosmos, our stellar system is only a tiny part of an incomparably larger stellar system, of a cluster of Milky Ways. One might say containing some 20 galaxies within a radius of 1.5 million light years. And he breaks down what a light year is, but I'm not going to go into that big formula. I'll just skip that because you know what a light year is. Okay. And even then, this vast number of stars is small in comparison with many thousands of spiral nebulae disclosed by the electronic telescope. Disclosed to the present day, I should emphasize, for research of this kind is only just beginning. Astronomer Harlow Shipley estimates that there are some 10 to the, 10 to the 30 stars within the range of telescopes. That's 10 to the 30th power. We're up into the billions, okay? Within the range of our telescopes. When Shipley discusses a planetary system with only 1 in 1,000 stars, we may assume that it is a very cautious estimate. So out of all those billions of stars, even if only 1 out of the billion, or 10 to the 30th, we're actually into the billions, has a star that has a planetary system, he says, and that's cautious. If we continue to speculate on the basis of this estimate and suspect that the necessary conditions for life for only 1 star in 1,000, this calculation still gives us a figure of 10 to the 14th power. Shapley asks, how many stars in this truly astronomical figure have an atmosphere suitable for life? 1 in 1,000? ? That would still leave the incredible figure of 10 to the 11th power stars with the prerequisites for life. And even if we only assume that that only every 1,000th planet out of this figure has produced life, there are still 100 million planets on which we can speculate that life exists. Now, let me say that again. So, of this figure, which has produced life, there are still 100 million planets on which we can speculate that life exists. This calculation is based on telescopes using the technology available today. But we must not forget that these are constantly being improved. So what I'm saying, and I know this is kind of long-winded, but, hi, Gab, thank you for being here. Thanks for, go tend to your family. Thank you for stopping in. I know it's late for you. Thank you. And Claudette, you just said, I can only imagine the beautiful planets that are out there. Yeah, Sharon says, wow. So from a scientific, and this is ultra conservative, and this was in 1969, I would dare say that with our modern telescopes and our modern computer imaging, that the numbers probably be bigger. Okay, so just from what we can see with our limited telescopes, calculating at the most minimal level, we're up to 100 million planets. And I always say to the skeptics, I say, why is it any more weird that life could be out there than that life should be on Earth? I mean, if you don't believe in a higher power, if we just look at it straight from evolutionary, from a materialistic, viewpoint, it's strange that life should even be on our Earth, really, considering we've had meteors impact the Earth, wipe out the dinosaurs, all of this stuff that's happened. We look at the moon. The moon, they say, may have been a thriving planet, and now it's a barren wasteland. So life died on the moon. Why should we have life on Earth? So it's just very interesting. And so this is how this book starts off. And, I really want you guys to kind of think about that. So when next time somebody says to you, oh, you're crazy, you believe in space people, there are scientific numbers that back up the belief in that from a purely materialistic viewpoint. You don't have to be spiritual to look at the numbers, So Miss Limitless says, this is an astronomical thought for all those who think we are alone. Yes, it is. Frequency of Piss says, Psychic Bob, I've been filming spirit orbs and I think I got a UFO. That is really cool. See, this is why I tell you guys. And Frequency of Peace, thank you for sharing that. We should all get out with cameras. Let's be watching the skies. Now, last year, or in 2018? All my years are blurring. I said in the end of 2018, I said 2019 would be one of the biggest years of UFO phenomena we've seen in a long time. And my prediction for that year came true because according to a lot of the stats, last year had one of the largest amount of UFO sightings around the world. And, the evidence is there, David Jan says, yes, the moon and the stars used to have life. That's right. Laura M says, why must we be the only living things? Absolutely, And so I think that, we want to kind of go into this discussion with the skeptics of the world, hitting them with hard facts. This is why I want you guys to get this book. Now, I only read a little bit. He breaks this down further, Eric Van Daniken, into further calculations that even more strongly prove the points. I only read the first little bit because it gets quite complex, and I don't want to sit here and read for an hour. But I'll tell you, if you read his evidences right from chapter 1, you're going to be amazed. Now, what's really cool is that they made a movie on this book. There is a movie called Chariot of the Gods. And guess what? Guess what? You guys ready for this? I found it on YouTube. So after this video processes, I'm going to have a link to the actual movie based on the book. So I know not everybody's into reading books. So you may not say, well, I don't have time, I'm not interested. But at least you can watch the movie on YouTube that's based on the book. And the movie is very 1970s in its appearance. But that's okay. The truth's the truth. Doesn't matter. It's a little dated. It's still amazing, And what's cool is I watched that movie in the 1970s during the original release. Psychic Bob's older than most people realize. Everybody thinks I'm like 30s. I'm actually in my 50s. So I was a kid growing up in the 70s, and I was into all this. I went and saw Chariot of the Gods in the theater. I saw all the movies on UFOs and Loch Ness Monster and Bigfoot. Back in the 1970s, there was a lot more discussion about this phenomena, Interesting. Apple Goblin says, it's reported that alien spacecrafts often go to some sort of sacred shrines in Japan. Who knows why? Well, Apple Goblin, I'll tell you, I think I might have an answer for you on that. And that answer is discussed actually in this book. Because one of the things that they give real great evidences is that the aliens, Um, well, let me put it this way: the aliens aren't going to the sacred shrines because the people honor them there. The aliens just went there, and then the people discovered they were there and built the shrines after they visited it. So wherever that sacred shrine is, it probably has a history of sightings. And just because of their calculations, it's easiest for them to return to where they were. So I think that's neat. I'd like to hear more about that. So it's just so fascinating. Such a great subject, isn't it? Uh, Calatin says it's an awful big waste of space if we are alone. I agree. Thank you. That's a good point. Claudette says, imagine the beautiful gifts we could all share if people weren't afraid. Isn't that true? Laura M., you're a 70s kid also. Yay. For those of you who did live in the 1970s, I have to tell you, I'm so thankful that I got to be around because that was a very cool era. The clothing was cool. The music was cool. I just love the 1970s. I just saw Lady Carol's here. Hey, Lady Carol. We're talking tonight about Chariot of the Gods. And I was saying that I grew up in the 1970s when this was a very big topic. And Lady Carol, you're about my age. You remember the 1970s a little bit, I think. We were all younger then, a little younger, a little thinner, a little less gray, but we were there. I love the 70s. I don't know. In the 70s, I have to say, now I'm not trying to be political, but I think despite all the stuff that was going on in Vietnam and Watergate, I think America as a whole was still much more united. We had a common kind of concept of our country as Americans and unified that I don't see much of anymore. Anyways, I'm not getting into politics, but I'm just saying the culture of the times, we had discussions on a national level, you know. And Miss Limitless says, I was born in the 70s, definitely a better time. See, Allison Downey loved the 70s. Yeah, see, I don't know. But this is where that's the era that this book, Chariot of the Gods, comes out. And so I remember, friends of my parents would read this book. Now, my parents, interesting, were not mystical people. They had no time for any of this. I'd be sitting there saying, I got to read this book. And my mom would say, okay, I'll get it for you, whatever that weird stuff you're into. I got to give my parents credit. They really allowed me as a kid to have my indulgences with my bizarre theories. I grew up reading books on astrology and UFOs. And, back then they even had whole magazines devoted to UFOs. Do any of you remember that? I remember going to people's houses and you could subscribe to entire magazines that came out every month about UFOs. I don't think they have those anymore. Anyways, Miss Liviless says, I love my gauchos. Oh, gosh, I remember that. Jose A says, everyone thinks their eras were the best. The 70s sound cool, though. You're probably right about that. We all get a little nostalgic. But even if I step out of my nostalgia and just look at it pure objectively, I have to say I still think I'm right. Maybe I'm clouded, but I don't think so. I love the 80s, too. I'm a big 80s fan. You love the halter neck tops. Oh my God. I remember girls wearing those halter tops. Oh, they were sexy. I remember when I was in sixth grade. We're going on a tangent here, but Alice, I got to tell you, when I was in sixth grade, there was a girl I had a crush on. Oh, I was crazy when she used to wear this sexy halter 70 top. And girls, like I was like 12 and she was like 12, but girls, at 12 are more mature than boys. All the boys were like, oh, that girl's so sexy. And she had a tan. Anyways, yeah, I loved it. And bell bottoms, Laura Ebb said yes. So that's the era where, this book comes out of and where that movie comes out of, Calatin says she wished she was born in the 50s. I love the 50s too. I have to be honest, I'm not trying to sound negative. I've never found the 2000s that impressive. I've been impressed by the technology like we have that allows us to broadcast shows. But I think as a culture, we've lost something, at least in the United States. We've lost our sense of unity. And I personally think there's a lot of division, which is sad to me. Lady Carol says she remembers leg warmers. That was 19. Yeah, that was late 70s. There were leg warmers, late 70s, early 80s. I remember that. Lady Carol, do you remember that a lot of people wore rainbows in the 70s? Rainbows were really big, and it wasn't connected so much to the gay pride movement then. It later on became gay pride. But in the 70s, everybody wore rainbows, and it didn't necessarily mean gay pride. Now, you wear a rainbow, and it means you support gay pride, which is really cool. But it didn't back then. But it was a big thing. And the leg warmers, I remember, the reason I'm saying this is there were rainbow leg warmers, I remember, real popular in the late 70s. Anyway, so Horror Beauty FX remembers it. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Hi, Catherine. And well, listen, Catherine, you're not that late. We're just talking about Chariot of the Gods, and which you missed at the beginning. You can go back and see. But the thing is, what I really wanted to do tonight was start this discussion because so many of you have been writing and asking me about to talk about aliens. And so what I will tell you so far from what I've read in this book, and I'm agreeing with it, that the aliens who first came to Earth, now let me explain, there are so many types of aliens visiting the Earth. But this book focuses predominantly on aliens who were humanoid, who look literally like us. Now, I have said it before that we all are star people. We're all connected to the Pleiadians. The Pleiades star system in the sky, which is called the Seven Sisters, you can go outside and look for that in the night sky. I don't know if it's visible at this time. Yeah, I think it's visible. I have to check my star charts, but that star system carries a number of planets that have literally human life. And the people there look literally exactly like us. You would never know. They have all races. They have African Americans. They have white people. They have Asian people. Whatever you see on Earth exists out in the Pleiadians. And so this book, Chariot of the Gods, documents the ancient people's documentation of a visitation from these beings. And they speculate in here, which we'll have to talk about in future broadcasts because I got to get a little deeper into the book. But they talk about, like, for example, the ancient Greek gods and the ancient Norse gods. Okay. Now, people all say, oh, Greece is ancient Greece. That's all mythology. Those gods weren't real. Zeus wasn't real. But he breaks down recorded experiences that were recorded in the ancient cultures that point to the possibility that maybe that the Greek gods were real, but maybe they were simply people from another world who came here and they were interpreted as god beings. They say that Zeus has the power to throw lightning bolts. But think if you were an ancient person and somebody came down from the sky and they had laser lights or flashlights even. Beams of light came out of their devices. That would certainly look like bolts of lightning. So they put a lot of theory, but it's not just him speculating. What's really great is that Eric von Daniken actually shows the recorded history of the people and has people that he interviews that are interpreters of ancient writings. He shows petroglyphs. He shows cave dwelling images. Yes, Angela, he has a whole giant section on ancient Egypt, which we're going to have to cover that. That's going to be a whole video in itself because as I get further into it, I'm going to break down each of the cultures. So we're going to definitely be talking about this book. I think for the next few Fridays, we're going to focus on this, okay? And we're going to look at that. And, because I want to have a discussion, we may, depending on my schedule, probably do live on Fridays. Let me just see. I'm not going to promise it. Some of it may be pre-recorded just because of the way things work on my schedule. But we'll see what we can do, okay? So this book, I just want to encourage you to get it. We're going to talk about it more. But for right now, I just want to stop in, get this discussion going, and ask you guys to think about it, Because you know what? I'm tired. I'm tired of all of my peeps here being beaten up by the materialistic atheists, you know? I think that we as spiritual workers, they may not accept our spiritual theories, but they can't argue against documented scientific evidence. And it behooves us to be as intelligent, or in fact, more intelligent, at least in this area, than the atheists. They want to just debunk us and mock us and laugh. And they can't debunk us when we meet them on their territory using their language. I'm not looking to start a war, but I am looking to stand in defense of our truths, and truths that, frankly, I think are going to be revealed very soon. As I predicted back early in the year, I said 2020 is going to be an even bigger year of revelation than 2019. You know, thank you, Claudette. She said, yes, Bob, you hit the nail on the head, you know? And I think we do. I think we do have to stand our ground because, you know, for us as spiritual workers, as light workers, and everybody on my channel is a light worker. You might not think you are, but you are. We're going to be dealing, and I'm going to sound a little dramatic, but I think it's very true. We're going to be dealing in the coming years with a world that is going to fall apart if people cannot begin to wrap their mind around the reality of life out there. Because if it were, for example, just openly revealed today, there's still so many people in the dark that their entire world would collapse. There are people who still on the earth who, if UFOs flied over, you know, landed in Washington and New York and London, would commit suicide today because it shatters their paradigm of reality. And I think if we can start that discussion of let's consider another reality that could be interfacing with ours, then we're on the path towards healing and we will save lives. So this knowledge isn't just so we know stuff, it's to help others who are going to soon be faced with that. Miss Limitless, thank you. She says, I totally agree with you, Bob. The rate of ascension and expansion among us dictates it. Isn't that true? So, you know, let us raise our light quotient because many psychics, myself included, and many of you here have had what I would deem paranormal experiences where you've received a channel message from a being out there. They're talking to people already on this earth. Some of us are ready for it and we get the communications, you know. And Sharon A says it's why the government is not honest. Yes, there's a lot of cover up here. And we'll probably have to do a whole other discussion about that. I don't want to get into political stuff here today, but we will talk about that, you know. Carol Pettis says, I believe the weather changes we have now are tied to visitations from above. That's interesting. Could be, you know, possibly. I think that the United States government and many of the other world governments are tapping into alien technology. Unfortunately, many of the governments that have that technology are using it for harm and for control rather than for upliftment of the world. My personal belief, you know. Claudette Malspina says, my daughter has written 2 beautiful Wicca books and she is afraid to publish them. You know, Claudette, this is true. When you speak the truth, you can be targeted. This is why I am a targeted individual, is because I'm here and I've been speaking truth and people in power don't like it. And because I'm connected to very powerful people around the world and into Washington, like a lot of you don't know who I know and I can't talk about it. I've got secrecy agreements, but I know a lot of people. And I know people who have confirmed what I've said, a lot of what I've taught and said. They said, you're right, Bob. So we are in a position where to speak out does create a danger for some of us. But you know what? I'm just tired of being silent and feeling afraid. And I think you should be too. Because the truth is there are more of us than there are of them. And I think if the people, the everyday people, the common man in the street, as they used to say, would speak the truth, I think the world would move in a better direction. See, we're all afraid, so we stay silent. New York says they definitely have alien technology. Yes, they do. Angela Locke says HARP. HARP is a whole nother video, but I agree with you on that as well, Angela. So I'm going to encourage you guys, get this book, read it. It will give you, it's a tool. It is a tool of power. I bought this book. In fact, let me tell you how much I paid for this book. I bought this at a used bookstore down in Alexandria for $2.59. In fact, it was on sale. They dropped it down to $2 because I bought a few books. So for $2, I have a powerful and wonderful tool. And as I said, I think with our modern technology, some of this will even be, the arguments can be even stronger. But even if you went off a 1969 argument, it still would top anything that they have against us, you see? So I like that, Hey, Ghostly Girl, good to see you. So I want to ask you guys, who out there has read this book? I'm curious. Have you read the book? Have you seen the movie? And are you interested in that? If you're interested in the movie, I'm going to have a link after this video to the actual movie that was based on this book. The original the book came out in 1969 and the movie came out in 1970. And I think I saw the movie in 1974. It had been out back in the 70s. Another 70s note is if you missed a movie the first time it came out, sometimes they would just re-release it in theaters. And so I think I saw it in a second release because I was too young in 70. But in 74, I was like 7 years old. And I remembered I was old enough to really be interested in it. And, I was one of these kids, even at a young age, I was very interested in things like that. And I could sit and watch a movie, Allison's got to go to an appointment. Allison, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. You guys are great. So Sharon A says she's interested in seeing the movie. Laura M says she wants to see the movie. Wonderful. Claudette Malaspina's seen the movie. Wonderful. Well, I think it's worth a rewatch, If you've seen it, watch it again. And because sometimes we see stuff, and then we watch it a second time, we're like, wow, I don't know how I missed that, Angela Locke says a lot of the space films from the 1970s are coming true. And then that's true. So that's why I think this book is even more timely than it was before, Hi, Bob. Just came in for a few minutes ago. What is the name of the book? Here it is, Kat Aaron Davis. Good to see you. Chariots of the Gods. It's by Eric von Daniken. There's the name, the author's name right up here above the title. Eric von Daniken, Chariot of the Gods. And he has a question mark. I forgot the original. I say it like it's not a question. Chariot of the Gods, but it's actually Chariots of the Gods. It's kind of a question. So this is what I want to invite you to explore with me. And I think in the next few Free for All Fridays, we're going to talk about this book. And we're going to look at that phenomena. What's it mean? Where does it come from? How does it affect us today? Back when this book came out, people would take photographs of UFOs, and now we can actually do live streaming. I've actually seen on YouTube that there are some people out with their cell phone cameras, and they're filming live stream alien flyovers, particularly out of like Los Angeles area. There's a lot of that, and it's not special effects. It's real because they're doing a live stream. Angela Locke says the book 1984 definitely has come true. Oh my God, don't even start me on that subject. I tell you, as a targeted individual, I live 1984 in my real life every day. Lady Carol says, I didn't get to see it, but I want to. Maybe they have it free to watch online. Yes, Lady Carol, you were here earlier, but I'm going to put a link after this processes to the movie. The actual movie from this book, the official movie, is online. And so I'll put the link to it below this. So please, after this video processes, it may take like a half hour because you know how it goes. Go back, please help me out. Like this video, thumbs up, favorite, share it with your friends, and get the link because the movie's really great. I think that the book goes more in depth. I think that the movie, I love the movie, but I think even if you watch the movie, you should still read the book because the book goes into levels of detail that the movie doesn't have on some level. Still a great movie, but the book, you know how they always say the book's better than the movie. I think this is another case of that. But the movie is amazing and very helpful. The book will give you even more, you know. So Angela Locke and Bela Claire says, love this topic. Thank you. And Angela Locke says, Salisbury Plain is rampant with UFOs. You know, Angela, I've been to the UK and I've been down to where the crop circles are. And I've seen stuff through those areas. So yeah, you're absolutely right, you know. Yeah. Lady Witch says the books are always better than films. I think so, you know. Indy Eswig, New York says, how do you fight back? You know how I fight back, Indy, is that I get up every day and I choose to live my life. Even when I'm beaten up by electronic harassment, I get up and say, screw you, I'm going to live my life. I refuse to stay in my house and be intimidated. I refuse to be silent. I refuse to let my life go. Because many targeted people, what happens is they put you into such a state of horror and terror and panic and injury that you just give up. And I realized one day that what's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to kill me. Well, I believe in eternal life, and I'm not afraid of that. I've had a near-death experience. So if I'm going to die, which is very probable and possible at their hands, then I'm going to live whatever time I have left in the best way, and I will not stop my truth. I will not stop being creative. I will do my art. I will do my channeling. I will write my books, and I will speak to the whole world. That's how I get through. It's a choice. It's really a choice. So if you're a targeted individual, ND, you got to make the choice that you're going to live, because I almost gave up that choice several years ago when this started. I literally became frozen. Don't become frozen. You fight by choosing to face. If you go out and you're getting gang stalked, tell them to F you. Because the truth is the gang stalkers can't physically hurt you. They'll scare you, they'll intimidate you, but they actually are forbidden from injuring you. And if they do injure you, fight them. I will not hesitate to physically assault a gang stalker these days if they're harassing me. I will. I have to do it if I have to. Haven't had to so far, thank you, God. But you choose life. And see, so when we talk about like this UFO phenomena, this is a chance for you to say, I choose to become educated. I choose, I'm preaching. Yeah, I get on my preach. Put me on my soapbox in Speaker's Corner. Angela Locke, you know about Speaker's Corner, right? I've been there too. I didn't have a soapbox to stand on back then, but if I go back, you know I'm going to be out there preaching. Woo, glory to God. I'm telling you, I am. I love to preach. So Indy, New York, Eswig, New York, are you a targeted person? It sounds like you may be. I'm so sorry if you are. You're not alone. You know, they want you to believe you're the only person in the whole world's out to get you. Don't believe that. There are good people that are not stalkers, you know, that will be your friends, and you can trust them. You have to let go. One of the things that I found as a target is that I had isolated and alienated everybody from my life. A lot of them were involved in the stalking, and some of my best friends worked to literally destroy my life. But I said, well, then those friendships are gone. And if you're a targeted person, you know who's working against you. It's very obvious. So you have to say bye to some people. But the spirit world brings new people into your life, you know? Angela Locke acted like she's at Speaker Corner. She said, "Hail, Lord Bob." Thank you. I do that laugh. That's wonderful. Calatin Dashcam says, I just used these words last night. It's hard being in the light when the dark surrounds you. It is. But if we don't shine our light, this world will be lost. See, because humans have free will, we can choose to be light workers, or any of us, we could all today walk off, take off our mantles and say, I'm going to be an atheist and a materialist just like everybody else and not give a damn. But if you do that, you lose ultimately. You lose your journey, you lose your soul. Don't lose your soul. What this program, and I know we're getting on a tangent, but I gotta say, this program of targeting is designed to do is to make you lose your soul, to make you turn evil and abandon your principles. You must never do that. In Diazwig, New York says, yes, I've been for a year and maybe I'm thinking my whole life. Indy, I got to tell you, I've been a targeted individual for the last 7 years that I know about. It may go back further, but I can document it to 7 years where I was, because 7 years ago, I was actually arrested by the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI. And they told me to my face I was a target. So I got direct notice, you know. But the thing is, what I want to tell you, Indy, and please hear me, the first year is the worst. Like right now, you're saying it's been a year. After you get through the first year, maybe the first year and a half, it will shift for you. And so what you got to do is make a goal every day that you're not going to sit in your house and be scared. If you go on the street and they play the, you know, because they do street theater, they talk to you, they harass you, agents will come up and tell you you're going to be arrested. You just keep walking. It's all a mind F. I won't say the word, I might get banned, but you know what I'm saying. I chose not to listen to them. I don't buy into what they say, and I just keep going. You got to fight. That's how you fight. Amy 2572. Have you seen Stranger Things? It's all about these programs and children behind used as psychic weapons. Absolutely. There is a quest to take control of the human mind, to take control of human free will. And this is against the mandates of the spirit. You see? Laura Doss says, we are here to show the other truth. That's true. And the truth is, any of you, not trying to scare you, but any of you who truly believe in the soul, you believe in goodness, you believe in light, you work for the light, you could possibly be targeted. And I'm not going to lie to you or sugarcoat it. But that being said, in the end, the light always wins. And that's what you've got to hold on to. Angela says, I get buzzing in my ears sometimes. Well, you know, they're bombarding the earth with so many frequencies from these satellites. I think we're all being radiated on some level. Yes, Catherine M. says, nanotechnology is so scary. Yes, it is. And I actually have been implanted with microchips. So I know what that can do. So I want you guys to understand that, you know, to embrace truth of other worlds, to embrace higher spiritual truths, does require an investment that could bring into your life attention unwanted. But that being said, I never regretted anything I've done. And I'm glad that I stood in the truth, and I still stand in the truth. Because this world needs an awakening. And we'll get the awakening, but we all have to do our parts. Guys, it's almost time. I've got to get off of here. But I wanted to also bring an important announcement to you. Be here on Sunday. We're going to have a special guest. It's Brett Karstens. His channel is called The Casual Psychic. I'm going to put a link for him also below. Please go over and check out his channel. He's an amazing psychic. He goes and travels to haunted sites, and he captures spirit voice phenomena. He's an amazing medium. Sometimes when he does his videos, voices will come right in on the tape live. I've seen it. And not only are they on the tape, they're electronic voices, that come on the tape. You know, we call that electronic voice phenomenon. Many times he gets the voices audibly that anybody in the room can hear it. I've talked to him. I've told him I think he has the gift of what's called independent voice phenomena. So I'd like you to please go over, subscribe to his channel. Oh, you know Brett? Yay. Okay, Lady Witch knows Brett. He's an amazing person. And I'm so privileged because he's going to be on our show on Sunday as a live guest. And I hope you'll come out and be part and ask him questions and get to know him because he's just an amazing guy. And I would love for you guys to be here. So you got a lot of homework to do today. You got to go explore getting this book. You got to watch the movie Chariots of Gods. You know, Psychic Bob's giving you homework. You got to go subscribe to Brett's channel, which I'll have that link below. And, you know, I think that you will really get a lot out of this weekend. You know, if you're saying, if I said, what are you guys doing this weekend? You say, well, I don't know. I don't know. Well, why don't you start with a plan? Because, you know, they say, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So make a choice that this week you're going to do some research on this. Check out that book, check out that movie, check out Brett, and make plans. Try to make your schedule so you can be here. We're going to broadcast Sunday evening, as we always do, 7 p.m. Eastern U.S. time. So 7 Eastern, 6 Central, 5 Mountain, 4 Pacific, 4 p.m. Pacific time. And it'll be midnight London time, 1 a.m. Paris time. So I hope you'll be here. And I know for those of you in Europe, it's late, but that's just when it works best for me to do the show. I'm sorry. But I am so glad you guys are here. And I've enjoyed spending this time with you. And it looks like you said, you're welcome, B. LeClaire. I said, it's been a great show. Yay. It's gonna be a good show with him. Yeah, and she said she's been on his channel, is really good. So we're really privileged to get him because he's a very high demand psychic. And you know, when I called him, I thought, oh, he's going to be booked up for next 6 months. And he was pretty busy. He's very booked. He travels around the country, does appearances, just like me. He's always out doing work, spiritual work. But his whole life is devoted to spiritual work. So he and I share that in common, and I love him. So I want you to please go contact Brett at his channel. I have that link below. It's, if you don't, you know, it's called Casual Psychic. In fact, let me type it in the thing. And it's all run, I think it's one word, Casual Psychic. P-S-Y, like that. I think that's how his channel said. Anyways, you'll find him. Brett Karsten's his name. Amazing, amazing guy. Not only is a great psychic, he's just a great person. I've so enjoyed having a chance to talk to him just on the times we've talked on the phone. He's great. And he's very generous with his time and very generous to share it with us. Anyways, well, guys, listen, it's late. I love you. By the way, don't forget also part of your homework, if you haven't done so, go to PsychicBob.com and get Magenta Frenzy before it's gone tomorrow, okay? And if you like, make sure to visit my shop and pick up a t-shirt, a Magenta Frenzy, or any of my other artworks that are over there. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. You guys rock. So we're going to be back here tomorrow on, what's tomorrow? Saturday. We're going to have our Saturday seance. I don't know what we're doing. I may do a channeling tomorrow. We may do something else. Let me see how the day goes because I got a lot going on. But we'll get something in for you guys tomorrow. So make sure to check back here. And I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Lady Carol, for being here. It was so much fun. I love you guys. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Until then, may all of you always, what do we say? Blessed be.